Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, so let's go ahead and jump on in. There's the deck I'm looking for. Let's start out with an oracle deck. And this could be for today's topic for the 29th. Bear in mind that these are the ones where um, if you guys would like to, when I'm done being live, you'll notice that the comments are left open and you can just type the word compassion in the comment section. And then each Monday, I randomly go back to one of the today's topics and then I randomly scroll through and wherever my finger lands, that's our winner. And I do a storytelling for one person each Monday out of the comments. So the word compassion gets you entered to win. Maybe at some point we'll change the word again. Maybe we'll, let you guys randomly pick something new if you want. But for a little bit, I just think that that's such a nice word to stick with. And we used to use that a long time ago. So here we go. Hi, guys. So nice to see everybody. Happy morning or good evening, wherever you may be in the world. We have the chalice. I was going to say Ace of Cups, but it's an oracle deck. We have fulfillment. Okay, so the 29th could be about someone who is either, I'm going to say, doing the very wise thing and asking themselves, am I fulfilled? Am I happy? Is this good for me? Or do I need to fill my cup with something? Because this is about fulfillment, we're only going to talk about it in a happy context. I don't think that this is somebody who's like, woe is me, there's so many things I'm missing out on. It feels like we have a character aware that it's time that they start filling their cup. Universe, what do they need to fill their cup with? Ooh, judgment. So possibly forgiveness. They maybe need to forgive themselves. Or it could be just letting something go, just for themselves. I'm never the person who says that, like, oh, we'll feel so much better if we forgive other people for whatever they did wrong to us. I think we can just move on. I think, if anything, I always stand with the victims and say, no, I support the victims, and victims don't have to. There's no obligation on a victim to have to make it okay what happened. But I definitely support victims, saying, for me, for myself, I allow me to move on. I allow myself to, like, forgive me for what I had to go through. But I don't have to extend that anywhere else. But I definitely want to be able to be happy. So I think this is just somebody who's like, if there is forgiveness, I mean, hey, if a character sincerely feels like I can totally let that go, I totally forgive that person, and I feel better doing it, then by all means, I'm team forgiveness. But I just never want to make a character feel like that's somehow like, oh, you need to do this and then you're a better person. F that. I think we need to do what we need to do to carry on and live our best life. But I think we can move on and just not have to look back. So sorry, that's my mouthy little. I just want to be careful always how I say it, because I never want it to get construed as if it's like, because I just don't support victims having to be told that you'll be better as long as you do this. I'm like, leave the victims alone. Let them move on how they need to. So that's just my opinion. Sorry, I'm opinionated, but I have a protective nature and I want to support my characters. But yeah, this could be a character who is filling their heart, filling their cup with a sense of peace, letting things go, but it's only if that's what's best for them, is the way I want to say it. Five of Pentacles, Knight of Wands. Okay, so we also have a character that might need to look at, I never look at a Five of Pentacles as a bad card, like, oh my God, I'm out in the cold, I'm missing things. I look at it the same way I would go grocery shopping. If I was going to cook something, I look in my cupboards and I say, what items don't I have? And I don't cry over them. Oh my God, I don't have ground beef. I put it on my shopping list and I go get it. And so that's how I look at the Five of Pentacles. So if a character needs to put things into their cup, I feel like this is all going to have a happier spin on it. And it's like, okay, one of the things that I need is maybe some more healing. When I'm doing a little checklist, I'm seeing I could use some tender love and care, some healing. Maybe I'll start looking into that. Maybe I'll start reading some self-help books. Maybe I'll start, going to see a counselor or therapist. Maybe I'll reach out and I'll start, seeking out things that help me to heal. I feel like a character is just being encouraged anyway to, all of this feels like it's so that they can let go of something heavy and so that their life can get on track. And so looking at the things that they most need or want could be things that'll help them to heal, things that'll help them to forgive, whatever that may mean, as I've already stated. And then a little sting, a little pizzazz, a little fun, a little sexy, a little bit of, engagement and a little bit of swag and charm. Not everything in life has to be like, oh my God, in order for me to be happy, I have to make this huge healing ordeal and I have to, it's going to be this 2-year journey and it has to be this, like contemplate our belly buttons on a mountaintop for 6 months and, you know, take a vow of solitude for X amount of time. No, this is actually like, hey, let's just get our character feeling good again. Let's be realistic about it. Let's give them a space to say, geez, I just want to let some stuff go. And damn, I could use a little healing. And you know what? I could also use a little fun, a little spark, a little something to get my blood pumping. And I like this because it gets the ball rolling. And I like the fact that it gets stuff like, we don't have to drag this out. A character shouldn't have to spend years of their life before they can get happy, is what it says. They can do this kind of swiftly, or they deserve to start filling their cup up with nicer things, hopefully as swiftly as possible. And I definitely like that approach for this one because it feels like we want our character to get joyful. And if they can do this on the 29th, I mean, that could that could really rock. We got the Wheel of Fortune. The universe is like, yeah, damn Skippy. You definitely can have a better time even right now. Just making that decision right now to say, I'm going to let go of some stuff, some heavy burdens. I'm not going to let myself keep carrying this. I don't have to keep thinking about something that happened to me. I can let it go for me. And I can say, I want to have like a little bit more support for myself, or maybe I could use a little bit of support, but also I could use some fun. And I think that that's it. That's the secret sauce. And poof, the door opens. So the 29th could be a very cathartic day where there's just kind of like, I'm content living my best life now. And I'm not going to like carry around, lug a boulder around behind me. Or the image I usually use is like carrying a big old backpack filled with rocks. You know how sore our traps are going to get? You know how heavy our back is going to feel? Like, why do we have to carry around a bunch of rocks? So I feel like this is a character being like, I don't have to. And as I unpack all this stuff, I feel lighter, I move easier, I move more fluidly and faster and with more grace, and my whole life gets better. My body, mind, and spirit get better. And it just feels like that's what the universe is like cheering our character on for. Like, you're allowed to be happier than this. And it can start today. It doesn't have to be this huge ordeal. You can start today. I really like this. I don't know what this means. Can we see one thing about what it is that a character is like letting go of? Possibly. Okay, we got a whole bunch of cards. We got a Page of Pentacles. We got a Nine of Swords. We got the Justice, the Six of Cups, and the Seven of Swords. Okay, so plain and simple, we have a character who perhaps had a betrayal or had somebody that, either through lying through omission or lying very straightforwardly or lying through weakness, whatever the cause was. We have lies, we have some wrongdoing, and unfortunately it occurred within a soulmate connection. And we expect, erroneously sometimes, but we do expect that soulmate connections are the really important, group that we reincarnate with. And lots of times we think of them as romantic partners, but really a soulmate is sometimes, this is just my interpretation, doesn't mean I'm right. Bear in mind, these are all fictional stories. Sometimes a soulmate is just somebody that we learn a lesson with. Or we help them to learn a lesson. Sometimes we're the tutor in school, and other times they're the ones going to teach us something. But it does feel like the thing that a character has to let go of is, I do think there was probably love or there was some bond here, but it was still handled really unfairly, really wrong. It caused one person in the equation tremendous distress because the other person was telling some whoppers. We got liar, liar, pants on fire over here. I don't know why somebody did some lying. We can only see that the net result of that is that it really kind of messed with a character's mind. And that's definitely something to let go of because it's been causing our character grief. It's been making them feel still wounded or feel like, that heavy sensation. And this is the day to let go of it. Let me just ask, what is the single best thing for a character to maybe do if they're going to let go of this burden of somebody who did them wrong? Ace of Pentacles in the reverse and the Devil upright. In this case, it says, oh gosh, I'm sorry, there's no gentle way for me to say this, but um, to call it like it is. If somebody was very toxic, why are we even trying to tell ourselves that we are going to have to take them back? Why are we even telling ourselves that they're going to be sorry for this and then we're going to have to make nice with them and we're going to have to find a way to get past this? I'm sorry to be so blunt in this one, but it kind of says the single, maybe most relieving thing to do is to say, I don't have to deal with this person again. I can just say they did something really toxic. They have whatever they're battling, whatever their toxicity is. That's who they are. That's why they behave this way. And I don't have to deal with it again. I don't have to wait for the day that they change. And I don't have to give them, second chances. I can just move on. And that might be the sense of relief to say, wait a second, I can just leave this here. You mean I don't have to carry it with me? And I don't have to give them more chances. And I don't have to think that I got to talk to them again later. And I am under no obligation to say this was all handled wrong. Therefore, of course, it has to be made right, which means I'm going to have to open the door again someday. No, our character doesn't have to do any of that. And that might be the relief of letting something just be what it was. I knew somebody, we had a bond. They either had their own toxicity, their own weakness, their own fears, whatever it was, but everything got handled real bad. And that's kind of where we diverged. And maybe that was the lesson for them. Maybe they get to sit and stew on it and think about their behavior, but our other character gets to move on. And that might be the single most useful thing, is to say, I don't have to picture the day that they come back and say sorry and I got to make it okay, sure, I guess I have to give you a second chance, or we can just let it be. This is, the period at the end of the sentence. And that was also the final sentence in that book. And we close that book and we picture putting it back up on, the shelf in the Akashic Records, and we're going to pick a new book off of the Akashic Records shelf. This is kind of like a fun concept that everything we ever can do, have done, or will do is already recorded in this great, huge, mystical library. And the book of our life and every path our life could take is already in all these volumes of books. And if we want to change our life, all we have to do is say, I'm going to put this book back on the shelf and I'm going to pull this one down. And it's as easy as, that's how we do a timeline jump. That's how we change what we want to do on Earth. Change the way we've been doing things, change the characters that we engage with. And I kind of feel like that comes into play in this. We can just let this chapter or this book be done. And on the 29th, we get to pick a different book. And that's what this whole storyline looks like to me. We don't have to live in hurt. We can pick a different timeline. We don't have to live in the memory of, a soulmate who hurt us. We can say, well, that did happen, but that was to a different version of me. And now I can pick a new version of my life. In fact, I want a different story. I'm done with this story. I'm going to write a new one. And I kind of love that, because it is like an instant way to say, no more of this, thank you very much. This time I want a full cup. Heck, I want a clean cup. I want a different cup. This is kind of refreshing to see. It's so possible for a character to change everything. So let me ask this. If a character does, whatever, if they want to use this, mental concept of choosing a different Akashic Record book volume of their life, or if they just want to stop thinking about, God, I'm going to have to still deal with an ex who's hurt me or a soulmate who's hurt me. If they go, no, I don't have to. I can just move on. No cleanup necessary. They can clean up aisle 5, but I get to just move on, walk on out of that store and go someplace else. If a character does that, what happens on the 29th? I'm just very interested to see if they get to just bounce. We got a Princess of Cups. Talk about the universe goes, hell yeah, we can open up a portal for you. You'd like to do something different? Absolutely. Come on through. You'd like to do something totally different. Of course, you can do that at any point in time. You don't have to allow anything to linger. You are in control. If you would like something different, you can absolutely do that. Now with the Seven of Cups, we also immediately shift into which timeline would you like? I almost feel like the the universe in this role is like playing this maitre d' at a very fine restaurant, and it's like, well, yes, we have a table here or a booth over here. Which would you like? Just let us know. It's like, wait a second, you mean I can sit wherever I want? Yep, you can do whatever it is that you want. Five of Swords sideways. The only thing you can't bring in is the past. You can't bring in any venom. You can't bring in any like unhealed stuff. This is where you got to let everything else go in order to embrace the new. Otherwise, it's going to be a cycle that doesn't quit. If there's hostility, if there's pain, that makes sense. That's probably why we have so many cards here about like, just let it go, just let it go, just let it go. So then you can have that new Akashic record book. Because let's go back to that concept. If that's what this whole encouragement is in this storyline, if a character was like, no, I want a different outcome, I want a different timeline, but I want to bring the same old characters with me into this totally different book, it's going to be like, they don't belong. Like if you were writing a story about dragons and then you said, but now I'm going to write a mystery, storyline about a private detective, and it's set in real time and it's not fantasy, you can't bring the dragon into the mystery real time, drama. You can't merge the fantasy world with that. Otherwise, it too becomes fantasy. And I just think that that's where the universe is like, pick your lane, pick what timeline you want. But the one thing is, if you're going to come in and start something new, you can have new, but you have to be willing to let go of the past. You can't bring the past, the ex, not in your head, not in your heart, not in, any venom. So you got to leave that at the door before you come into this new restaurant or pick this new book or whatever analogy we want to use here. I'm getting too analogy heavy. Let's move on. But I kind of love that. Nine of Swords. Can our character do it? This is the question they have to answer on the 29th. Can I really embrace something brand new? Can I really let go of the past completely and say, if I never think of the ex again, never deal with the ex again, or the soulmate or whomever wounded me again, can I just move on and say that was an old version of my life and this is my new version? Can I do that? Yeah, our character can straight up do that. We got the Death card. If they're worried about it or fearful about like, gosh, but what if I slip back to thinking about that again? This kind of says, the Death card is always about like being rebirthed. So to think about, we'll put it this way. We don't need the clothes that we wore in kindergarten as full-grown adults. We will never fit in those clothes again. We have zero use for them. Donate them, give them to other children who can use them, but we are full-grown adults. We don't need to hang on to our kindergarten clothes. That's the same situation. I've outgrown that. I have no use for the pain of the past. That's how I know I can let it go. It doesn't fit me. It doesn't fit in my new life, my new timeline, any more than my kindergarten outfits fit me as a full-grown adult. So I have no use for it. Now it becomes something cumbersome instead of something where it's like, oh, but my emotions are tangled up. It's like, we don't have to think of it as emotions anymore. Think of it more as a tangible object that wouldn't fit, and let it go. I kind of love this one. I mean, like I said, we were going to try to let go of like metaphors, and then we just keep using metaphors and analogies in this. But I guess I can kind of see why, because we're asking a character to make a very big leap in the span of one day in this story. You got to change it all in just one day. That's a lot. 10 of Wands. It's so great though, because this is the day to lay it down. This is the day to pick the new timeline. Okay, so if our character can do that, and they can have basically any other timeline that they want. Universe, do you have a final message? What is the absolute greatest thing that our character could enjoy in this next chapter of their life? The world. Okay, and the world is like hovering above here as well. It's almost like the sky is the limit. If our character is really going to let themselves be as empowered as what they should be, the universe says they get a full do-over. They can fall in love with somebody all over again, no matter what age this character is at, no matter where they are in their life. They can find a new career, a new romantic partner. They can have a brand new house, new car. they can do their whole life differently. It's like this is a person who gets to live a totally different lifespan. Hell, they can change their name if they want, but everything can be a do-over for them. That's a huge gift. And what's cool about this is the universe says, but you can give it to yourself. It's not a gift we have to give to you. You just have to give yourself permission to be done with something from the past. And that completes that one Akashic record timeline of your life. And you can select a new timeline. So start asking oneself, self, what would we like? What would we like to do different? I mean, it's not maybe as easy as like snap our fingers and all of a sudden, oh wow, I live in a beach condo. But let's just say everything in life requires, effort, right? To stand up requires effort because we're working against gravity, right? So our muscles have to work against the force of gravity. Everything requires some kind of effort. It's not instantaneous, but some things would be instantaneous because it's a mindset shift, and that can change immediately. There have been moments in my own life where something happened to me and I have never been the same person since. Moments where I learned something, and it's like from that point onward. And I mean, I vividly remember certain moments of my life where I'm like, those were moments that I changed. And it changed the way I viewed something. It changed a very deeply held belief that I had. Those are things that it's like, wow, until you face certain things or until you experience certain things, you couldn't have conceived that you would feel so different about life, feel so differently or see the world so differently until certain things happen in your life. And I almost feel like this is that one of those moments for this character. This is their moment to realize, oh my God, my life is changeable. I don't have to play a certain character. I'm allowed to shift timelines. I'm allowed to do things differently if I want to. I give myself permission today to do that. And it just looks really positive. It looks really, I don't know, like a breath of fresh air for this character. I kind of think this is a character who could do just about anything in their life, just to, accomplish just about anything. So very uplifting for sure. All right, we need to get a storyline for somebody whose birthday is on the 29th. Oh gosh, I gotta hope that this video will process. I'm sorry guys, we've been struggling today. There've been a bunch of my videos that didn't process. So here's hoping. Yet the one from last night didn't process, 2 today didn't process. So I'm hopeful after this live that you guys will still be able to see this one, that I won't have to take it down and then re-release it. But here's hoping. So for a birthday on the 29th, we start out with the Death card. Very appropriate for a year of the snake. Very nice also for Scorpio season. And then we have the Judgment card. So again, we are rocking the Scorpio vibes. But that card is actually, they call it the Awakening. And let me get one more because I always like to do 3 for a birthday. And we have the card of Oneness. Okay, so very, very, very powerful. If we have a character whose birthday is on the 29th, literally like today could be a particularly powerful day where it's like, oh my gosh, there is an epiphany moment. There is something that I am fully embracing, fully releasing. I have shed my old skin. And they say that snakes, like, so gross, but I'm so scared of snakes. But they say that they like rub even their eyes on like rocks because even the skin that covers their eyes molts off as well. And I actually think that's pretty cool though, because it also says, wow, so even like we can interpret that as like we could see things differently, right? We're shedding, the lens that we used to look through. So we have a character that could be going through a massive transformation. And 2 things happening. On one hand, this is a character who's like meeting their true self with the card of Oneness, but also seeing very clearly their own timeline that is right for them. Something in their life could be ending and a new beginning all at the same time. They're aware of it though. This is a character who's like very awakened, very cognizant that their life has just transformed in the best of ways, because this is a character who's like suddenly becoming more spiritual, or they're suddenly seeing the path in front of them and it's so clear now. It's like maybe their life purpose seems very clear. Maybe this could be a character who's able to like give up some kind of an addiction, just like poof, all of a sudden I didn't need it. It's so crazy. Something I did every day, my whole life. It was kind of an addiction, or maybe it was just a habit or a pattern. And I just stopped cold turkey because I realized I didn't need it. That wasn't anything that was holding me or grounding me. So I was able to let it go. It feels like a character is meeting their true self on the 29th, and they're realizing that their true self is a very beautiful person. This is somebody who's like, I almost feel, because I'm hearing that song, and please bear in mind, I'm not religious myself. I'm very accepting of whatever anybody else believes in that makes them a kinder, more warm, more fair and balanced and less judgmental person. I think is a beautiful thing to believe in. I have friends that, believe in every denomination and those that believe in absolutely nothing, and I love them all dearly. Anything that makes you a better, kinder person, I say awesome. Believe in that if that fills your heart and makes you a kinder person. So I only mention it because what I'm about to say is very religious, very spiritual. But there's a song, I think it's called "I Believe." Uh, I think it's Brooks and Dunn, and it's such a great song. It's so beautiful, but the way he sings it, it sounds much more like, almost like somebody kind of like giving a sermon set to music. And I just love the song so much. And like I said, I'm not a religious person. I'm not even sure I'd call myself spiritual. I have kind of my own cobbled together belief system based off of things I've experienced and the way I view the world. But I think we all kind of believe in the same thing, whether or not we give it different names. So I don't know. I'm just very, you do how you interpret, because we all see the world through a slightly different lens, but at the same time, we're also similar, is the way I always look at stuff. We're all part of the same flow. But that song is maybe a great song for this. It's something about, I raise my hand and I bow my head, and I know there's something more to this than words written and read. I, it's a great song though, very beautiful. But that kind of fits together. So maybe this is a character finding a spiritual or religious belief system or something that just like totally lifts their spirit. Very beautiful breakthrough for a character. Maybe it's that they realize that they belong and that they have a purpose, and that maybe is the best, like, thing to reflect on one's birthday. It's really nice to be born in the first place. All right, you guys, I'm gonna leave this one here. Sweet, so good to see you. Nellie, hey babe. So glad to hang out with you again, honey. Libra Prime, awesome to catch you. Italian Stallions in the house. Hey, babe. Happy Halloween to you also. Hey, sweetie. Shout out to you in Utah, Kristen. Mickey Sever, excuse me. Great to see you, Mickey. Oh, sweetheart, I don't want you to miss out. As soon as I'm done being live, then the comment section will open up, and that's where you'll want to write compassion. Right now, we're live, so you see the chat, but I won't see the live chat again. And unfortunately, messages here don't get switched over into the comment section. So that's the only reason I mention it to you. I just want to make sure that if you only write compassion here, you won't actually get officially entered for Monday, okay? Because I won't see this again. So there's never a chance for me to scroll and find you and have my finger land on you. So anyway, I just want to make sure that that's clear so that you don't get cheated out of a chance to win, okay? Hetty, nice to see you. Sexy Centaur Sag. Hey, hey, darling. Olivia, Carrie Wilson, Katie, No Love. Hi, honey. Anisha Chetu, good morning, darling. Hi, Jeb. Brave Pink Hero Green, RT, Wendy, Cher Dale, Truly Naturally, Escar, G, Melissa Estes, Legina Davis, Tina, Ginger Montague. And Escar, you were first in the house tonight. Nelly, you were second. G, you were third. Ginger, you were fourth. Thank you, guys. So nice to see everybody. All right. Hey, Delana. Thanks for being here, beauty. All right, you guys. I will see you again tomorrow. Well, technically, I guess later today. Casey, thanks, babe. All right, you guys, take care. Bye for right now.